All right, Deputy, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We getting them out. They coming out.
Okay.
Good morning, Your Honor. Do you prefer to go in tandem, or do you just want to give the Spanish speakers a separate deal?
I'm sorry, they were talking. I couldn't hear you. Can you say that one more time?
Do you prefer to go in tandem, or do you
Individual.
want to speak to them separately?
We'll probably the best way to do it in terms of when we do their individual charges is probably best to do it individual.
Okay, and the speech at the beginning is what I'm referring to.
Okay.
Do you want me to follow along with you, or if you
what I will do, let's do it this way. If we can, I'm just going to do it as to the whole, and then when we bring them up individually, because they still didn't give us all of the names of everyone. So I'm not exactly sure whom we all have even just yet, and so we'll just go through it again with them individually.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Deputy, are you ready?
Yes, sir. We're ready.
Right. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Marcus Thorpe. It is approximately 11:05 a.m. this morning, and this is Clayton County First Appearance. Ladies and gentlemen, just so that you are aware, we are now streaming live here on YouTube. Again, good morning. Today is November 5th. I've already introduced myself, and I will be presiding over this morning's calendar. If you are having trouble hearing me, please let me know as we go through this, because there are a few things that I need to go over with you prior to starting this calendar. So please listen carefully as it will help you to better understand the nature of today's proceeding. First, ladies and gentlemen, let me be clear. I'm not here to try your case here this morning or take a plea of any kind, or really, to be honest with you, to have any sort of legal discussions with you about your case. We're here this morning, more importantly, for me to inform you the charges that are against you, to advise you of certain rights, to set bond for those offenses for which the court is authorized to set them, to schedule your preliminary hearing, and then to determine whether or not you require the assistance of an attorney. Now, I mentioned earlier you do have rights, so let me explain to you that you all have the right to remain silent. So please do not attempt to tell me, as I said earlier, any specifics about your case, because we are recording this and there are witnesses everywhere around. And so I would hate for you to say something that could ultimately harm you. Now, during this process, you also have the presumption of innocence. You have the right to an indictment by grand jury for felonies or by accusations for misdemeanors. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury. You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf. You have the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you. And you have the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense. You have the right to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify. Also, if you are not a citizen, some charges may adversely affect your immigration status, so you will need to consult an attorney for those in particular. Now, ladies and gentlemen, among the other things I'm going to talk to you about, most importantly here, as I mentioned, that I'm going to talk to you about your charges, but I'm also going to talk to you about bond, about how much it would take for you to be potentially able to be released from custody. Now, there are some of you who will be allowed to post what are called unrestricted bonds for your release from jail pending the prosecution of your case. These bonds may be posted in 3 different ways. You can have it through cash, through commercial, which is the use of a bonding company, or a property bond, whereas you would have either yourself, or you'd have someone bring down a title to your property or to their own property. Now, beginning with the first, if you post a cash bond, of course, someone will need to deliver the full amount of bond in cash together with any fees to the sheriff's office, who will hold that bond until your final court date, at which time your cash will be returned to you or to whomever who posted it. If you do not have the full amount in bond, I mentioned earlier, there's what's called a commercial bond. And that's where you would use a bonding company who typically would ask for anywhere from 10 to 15% of the bond for their service. This, ladies and gentlemen, fee will not be returned to you. And so as an example, I like to use, if you are charged with an aggravated assault and I tell you your bond is $6,000, then for a bonding company to assist you, you would somewhere need between a fee of $600 to $750 that will not be returned. Now, the final way is also you may have what is called a property bond. And a property bond requires that in order for you or someone you know to put up the title to their property to have you released, that person must have 3 times equity in the property. And so again, what that means, if we talk about the aggravated assault example, and your bond is $6,000, they need to bring the deed to their property down to the sheriff's office, who will hold it until your case is resolved. But that equity they must have in that property must be at least 3 times, which in my example would be $18,000 in equity. Now, there are some of you who, in addition to giving you a bond amount, you will also have certain conditions that you are to abide by. Now, some of you will have those special conditions, which may include things like staying away from the other particular person or staying away from a particular place. Now, let me be clear. If you have a no contact provision on your bond, this means you are to stay away and to have no contact with the alleged victim. You may not call, text, email, write, or contact through any social media platform. You can't even do something as nice for that person, such as sending them flowers or a song or anything of that matter, because, ladies and gentlemen, it would be a violation of the bond order I'm going to give you here today and can result in you being placed back into custody and an additional bond. Now, if I order you to not return to a particular location, that means, again, you cannot go to that location. If the no return location is a residence that you reside at, I will let you know that you are authorized to go there so long as you are accompanied by a sheriff to collect your belongings here in Clayton County. You will need to make that appointment within 10 days, ladies and gentlemen, of being released. Now, unfortunately, some percentage of you will be back in custody on a bond revocation because you didn't take what I'm saying seriously. And instead, you'll go and reconcile with the victim, return to the residence, or other things that I'm asking you not to do. But please, ladies and gentlemen, understand that what I'm saying, until that order is modified, your case is resolved, whether it's dismissed or you plead guilty, you do not want to violate these bonds because ultimately it can have a negative effect upon you. Now, for some of you all, those victims may be family members, they may be spouses, they count as well. And if for whatever reason you are asking your alleged victim to come down and post the bond for you, and you have a no contact order in place or a special condition to stay away from them, they aren't even allowed to assist you in that way. So again, if your case has a special condition and you're to stay away from the alleged victim, that being a girlfriend, boyfriend, best friend, spouse, husband, wife, they are not allowed to have contact, and you furthermore are not allowed to have them assist you in trying to get you out of custody. Now, for those family members and friends who may be watching this live stream, you should wait at least 3 hours after the conclusion of this court proceeding before attempting to post bond, as it does take some time for the paperwork to get through the proper channels and be processed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are also some of you who are charged with offenses for which I'm not authorized to set bail. In the event that that is the case, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court of Clayton County. And then there are also at least one of you, ladies and gentlemen, who are currently on active probation. Again, this court is not authorized to set bond in those circumstances. Now, whether a bond is appropriate in your case will be considered at a later date after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest that you are here before me now for today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the last thing before we begin that I want to discuss with you is something that we have to discuss that's called a preliminary hearing. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is enough evidence or probable cause to keep you detained on your charges. If you bond out, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived because you are out of jail and no longer detained. If you are charged with misdemeanors only, when you come up before the court, I will ask you if you wish to waive your preliminary hearing. What that does is move your case along the pipeline a little quicker. Waiving your preliminary hearing does not affect your rights, your bond amount. It does, however, move your case from magistrate court, where you are now, to state court a little quicker. Now, the court does not have any preference one way as the other, whether you decide to have your hearing or waive your hearing. Now, again, remember, however, that if you bond out, your hearing will be waived. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would, everybody, please raise your right hand, and I'm going to all swear you all in at one time. Do you swear or affirm that the information that you're about to give to this court, as well as any information you provide in your application for court-appointed counsel, is true and correct? And if you do, say I do. All right. Deputy, I can't hear. Did everyone say I do in the back? I can't hear them back there.
Yeah, I say I do loud as can.
I do.
All right, thank you. All right, now, deputies, before we begin, I think Ms. Tolles is on here who'll be doing our interpretation this morning. And we were advised that there was at least one person.
Yeah, we have multiple Spanish people that need to be need a
Yes, ma'am. So I had a Jose Alfredo Morales. Can you advise me of who are the other individuals, one by one, please?
Okay.
Okay, what's the next one that you have?
What's your name?
Diaz Rachel.
Sobrano Michael. If you
Okay,
have-
okay, hold on, give me 1 second. Let me find that one. Was Luis Lopez Sanchez one as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Zambrano. Let me pull those two. Give me 1 moment.
Right here. So, okay.
Okay, I've got Lopez, Zambrano, and Morales.
And
Yeah.
Diaz,
Diaz Roberto.
Diaz Herreto.
All right.
And we have one other one. Marez.
I think
Fernandino.
Where's got the other one?
You said Morez was one,
Yes, sir.
and then there was another that I think Diaz, was that it?
Yes, sir. So,
Okay.
so in all, we should have 5.
I think I know Diaz.
Oh, y'all can have a seat for me to be ready for y'all. Whenever you're ready.
His family put me on arrest. Now he put me charges. This is his family. Family, he arrested me. He put me the charges. I don't know what he locked out. What's going on?
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
the one Marez Berenino,
Yes.
he's having some kind of mental problem, like he's not understanding everything we're telling him. He speaks Spanish, but he's like have like some kind of Alzheimer's, whatever.
Right. So let's see where we are. Since there is a language barrier, let's see where we are. And I'm gonna have Ms. Jartu speak with them, and then she can, once she translates to me,
Okay.
we'll speak with him. So I have Morez, and then there was a Diaz.
Yes, sir. So we have Diaz Herbeto.
Is the last name Diaz or is the last name Herberto?
Diaz, D-I-A-Z.
And that's male, correct?
Yes, sir. No. And then we have a Morales.
Yeah, I think I've got all the others.
Yes.
Okay, no.
Alfredo Morales.
Okay, I've got Mr. Diaz here. Here we go. All right, so we can start with Mr. Diaz. You want to pull him up?
Right here.
All right. All right, Ms. Jartu, if you just want to introduce yourself first.
Hola, señor, buenos días. Le voy a servir de intérprete hoy.
Sí, buenos días.
Good morning.
Okay. Now, Mr. Diaz, first of all, before we begin, if you could please raise your right hand.
Señor Díaz, antes de comenzar, si me podría levantar la mano derecha, por favor.
Do you swear or affirm the information that we are about to discuss and the information that you'll provide will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
¿Jura, señor, que la información que vamos a hablar y la información que nos va a proporcionar es la verdad y toda la verdad?
Sí, lo juro.
Yes, I swear.
Okay. Now, before we begin, sir, I need you to understand that you are here for your preliminary hearing.
Antes de comenzar, necesito que entienda que usted está aquí presente para su audiencia preliminar.
Okay.
And I'm
Okay.
going to go over your charges with you.
Y voy a repasar los cargos con usted.
Okay.
Okay.
¿Va a retrasar?
¿Cómo?
No te escuché bien. ¿Dijiste que me va a quitar los cargos o qué?
I didn't hear you well. Did you say you were going to remove the charges or what did you say?
I'm going to go over your charges with you.
Que voy a repasar sus cargos con usted.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, sir, normally there's a lot more I'd like to tell you here, but I'm going to deliver some information before we go any further.
Normalmente hay mucha más información que me gustaría dar a los detenidos, pero voy a repasar alguna de esa información con usted ahora.
Okay, está muy bien, gracias.
Okay, very well, thank you.
So, Mr. Diaz, you were charged with what kind of terroristic threat?
Señor Díaz, a usted se le ha imputado un delito de amenazas terroristas.
And there is some information that the police officer failed to include in your arrest warrant.
Y hay información que el oficial de policía no incluyó en la orden de arresto.
Okay. Now, as a result of that, sir, I am going to dismiss your charges here this morning.
Como resultado de eso, señor, yo sí voy a desestimar este cargo en su contra esta mañana.
But I need you to understand, sir, that my dismissing them here today does not mean that the prosecutor cannot bring these charges back against you.
Pero necesito que usted entienda, señor, que el hecho de que yo haya desestimado este cargo hoy día no significa que el fiscal no volverá a formularle la acusación posteriormente.
Okay, está muy bien, gracias por haberme ayudado.
Okay. Very
right, do you
well,
have-
thank you.
All right. Do you have any other questions for me, sir?
Muy bien, señor. ¿Tiene alguna pregunta para mí?
No, nomás que ya después de aquí ellos me dicen cuándo puedo salir o mi bon.
No, just that once I'm done here, are they going to tell me when I'm going to get out or about my bond?
It should be a few hours, sir. It would at least be, I would tell you later this afternoon before you're released.
Va a tardar unas horas, señor. Me imagino que hoy en la tarde es cuando lo van a dejar en libertad.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Gracias, señor.
Dile que muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
All right. If I could have up Luis Lopez Sanchez. And Madam Deputy, who is the one that you had the concern about? Is this the gentleman?
No, his name is Marez Bernardino.
Okay, so we'll do him last. Okay, so Mr. Sanchez, if you would please raise your right hand.
Señor Sánchez, por favor, levanta la mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm that the information that you're going to provide here this morning will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Jura que la información que usted va a proporcionar hoy día, esta mañana, sea la verdad y nada más que la verdad, ante Dios lo jura.
No escuché.
I could not hear.
Do you swear that the information that you're going to provide here this morning will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Jura que la información que usted va a dar aquí esta mañana será la verdad y nada más que la verdad, ante Dios lo jura.
All
I
right.
swear.
Okay, so Mr. Sanchez, I first need you to understand that you are here for me to go over your charges with you, okay?
Primero, señor Sánchez, quiero que entienda que usted está aquí presente para que yo repase los cargos que tiene con usted.
Okay. And I need you to understand that you have the right to an attorney, okay?
Y necesito que entienda que usted tiene derecho a un abogado. ¿Está bien? Yes.
You have the right to a presumption of innocence.
Tiene derecho a la presunción de inocencia.
Pero, ¿cómo le hago para traer el abogado? ¿Me van a dejar salir?
But how will I go about getting the attorney? Are they going to let me out?
I will appoint one for you based on some information you gave me.
Voy a nombrar un abogado para que le represente basándome en la información que usted dio.
Ok.
Okay.
Okay. Now, just let me tell you a few things before you respond.
Bueno, permite que le diga unas cosas antes de responder.
Okay. Now, you have the right to an indictment by a grand jury or by an accusation.
Usted tiene derecho a una acusación formal emitido por el gran jurado o que proceden en su contra a través de una acusación.
You have the right to compel witnesses at any hearing for you.
Tiene derecho a obligar la presencia de testigos en cualquier audiencia que tienen para usted.
You also have the right to testify on your own behalf should you choose to do so.
También tiene el derecho a declarar en defensa propia si usted elige hacerlo.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So now, Mr. Sanchez, in your particular case, you are charged with 3 counts. The first is called DUI less safe.
En el caso particular suyo, se le ha formulado 3 cargos. El primero es manejar bajo el efecto o la sospecha de alcohol.
Then that carries a bond of $5,000.
Este delito conlleva una fianza de $5,000.
Then you are charged with 1 count of no license.
Luego, se le imputa el delito de manejar sin licencia,
And that carries a bond of $1,000.
que conlleva una fianza de $1,000.
Then finally, you are charged with 1 count of improper lane change, and that carries a bond of $500.
Y luego, se le imputa la infracción de cambiarse de carril inapropiadamente, que conlleva una fianza de $500.
Now, you will have the right to bond out by cash or the use of a bonding company or by property.
Usted tiene derecho a salir en libertad bajo fianza a través de efectivo, una propiedad o a través de una compañía comercial de fianzas.
If you choose to use cash, your bond total would be $6,500 that you would need to come up with.
Si usted elige usar efectivo para salir bajo fianza, tendría que reunir $6,500 para poder salir.
¿Cuánto?
How much?
$6,500.
$6,500
Para poder salir.
to be able to get out.
If you want to do it in cash.
Si usted quisiera pagarlo en efectivo, sí.
Okay. Now, if you want to use a bonding company, you would only need to come up with approximately $750 to $800.
Ahora bien, si usted quisiera usar una compañía de fianzas, solamente tendría que reunir unos 750 a 800 para poder salir.
Pues me gustaría ese porque económicamente no he trabajado.
Well, I would like that because financially I have not worked.
Yes, sir, I understand that. And then lastly, if you own property, you could also use your deed to your property to help you bail out as well.
Sí, señor, entiendo eso. Y otra opción, si usted es dueño de una propiedad, podría usar el título, la escritura de la propiedad como la garantía de fianza para poder salir.
Sinceramente no tengo.
Honestly, I don't have that.
Okay. Then let me ask you this, sir. Are you currently working?
Le voy a preguntar algo, señor. ¿Actualmente está trabajando?
No, sufrí un accidente y se me hinchó el pie. Entonces tuve que ir al hospital y no he trabajado.
I had an accident. My foot swelled up and I was in the hospital and I have not been able to work.
So I am going to appoint you a court-appointed attorney this morning.
Entonces sí, le voy a nombrar un abogado de oficio para que lo represente esta mañana.
Okay, ¿y cuánto pagaría?
Okay, and how much would I pay?
El de 750 me dijo.
You won't have to pay anything, sir.
The 750, is that what you told me?
No, sir, that's only if you need to bond out, but your attorney is free.
No, eso solamente para pagar la fianza, señor, y salir, pero el abogado sería gratis.
Entonces, ¿cuánto tendría que pagar de fianza a los 6,500?
So how much would I pay for the bond? 6,500?
If you want to use cash, however, if you want to use a bonding company, it would be between $750 and $800.
Si usted quiere salir depositando efectivo, tendría que pagar los 6,500, pero si va a tramitar su fianza a través de una compañía de fianzas,
Ujú.
Pagaría entre los 750 o $800.
Pues voy a pagar eso porque, como le digo, sinceramente no tengo.
Well, I'm going to pay that. As I said, honestly, I don't have it.
Okay, yes, sir, I understand.
Está bien, señor, entiendo.
Entonces,
Now, one last thing for you, sir.
¿Cómo hago para pagar los 750?
How do I go about paying the 750?
You would speak to the sheriff's office about that.
¿Hablaría usted, señor, con la oficina del sheriff al respecto?
Okay. Now, I have one last question for you.
Tengo una última pregunta para usted, señor.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, because you are charged with a misdemeanor, you have a right to a hearing before a judge determines if there is enough evidence on your case to move forward.
Como a usted se le ha imputado delitos menores, usted tiene el derecho a una audiencia donde el juez determina, I'm sorry, Your Honor, if the interpreter may clarify, where the judge determines,
If there is enough evidence for your case to move forward.
thank you, sir, tiene derecho a una audiencia para que el juez determine si existen suficientes pruebas para que el caso siga adelante.
Ujú.
Or, excuse me, let me clarify. If you choose that, I will give you that hearing in the next 30 days if you don't bond out.
Si usted elige tener esa opción, entonces le voy a dar esta audiencia dentro de los próximos 30 días si mientras tanto no sale en libertad bajo fianza.
Or I can skip the hearing and go ahead and move your case a little quicker to the prosecutor.
O yo puedo saltar la audiencia para que su caso se pase por los canales apropiados al fiscal un poco más rápido.
Okay.
¿Ok?
Which would you like to do, sir?
¿Cuál quisiera hacer, señor?
Quiero el de 750 para hablarle a mi familia que me traigan ese dinero y pagar ese.
I would like the $750 to be able to call my family and ask them to bring that money.
Okay, and I understand that, but what I'm asking you, if you don't make that money, don't get the money and make your bond, what would you like me to do about the hearing? Would you like me to not have it or to have it?
Sí, señor, entiendo eso, pero lo que le pregunto es, en caso de no salir en libertad bajo fianza, en caso de no poder reunir el dinero, le pregunto en cuanto a la audiencia. ¿Quisiera usted tener la audiencia o no tenerla?
Pues no entiendo exactamente, pero por favor me indique la mejor forma.
Well, I don't exactly understand, but I would ask you, please, if you could tell me which would be the best way.
So I can't tell you which way to go, sir, but the hearing protects you in case there isn't enough evidence to go forward on your case.
Bueno, señor, yo no le puedo indicar la mejor manera, pero la audiencia le protege en caso de no existir suficientes pruebas en su caso.
And so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and set the hearing for you. And then that way, if you get out, it won't happen. But if you don't get out, you'll have it.
Entonces, lo que voy a hacer es ya programar la audiencia para usted, para que en caso de poder salir, no tendrá la audiencia no sucederá. Pero si sigue detenido, sí tendrá la audiencia.
If you fail to get out, sir, before your hearing will be January 9th, and it will be at 8 a.m. via Zoom. Excuse me, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom.
Si no sale bajo fianza, señor, su audiencia será programada para el 9 de enero a las 8:30 de la mañana por medio de Zoom.
Pero entonces para poder salir, que me dejen, voy a pagar los 750.
Well, if they let me get out, I would like to take the 750.
Yes, I understand that, sir. But in case you do not get the money to get out, that's going to be your next court date.
Sí, señor, yo entiendo eso, pero lo que le digo es, en caso de no poder reunir el dinero para poder salir, esa fecha será la fecha de la próxima cita judicial.
El 9.
The 9th.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
The 9th.
Yes, sir.
Pero,
Sí, señor.
Pero
Sí,
mi
correcto.
audiencia, o sea, para terminar todo, tendría que pagar los 6,500 a la final, con lo más los 750.
But to end with everything and finish everything, I'd have to pay the 6,500 or just the 750.
No, no, sir.
Ándale.
Those are two different options. You can either pay all of it to get out, or you can use a bonding company to get out. But please remember, that's just to get out for now. That doesn't make your case go away.
No, señor. Esos son dos opciones diferentes. Uno puede pagar el monto total para salir, o uno puede usar una compañía de fianzas y solamente pagar el porcentaje. Pero acuérdese, eso es solamente para salir de la cárcel por ahora. Eso no significa que todo está resuelto y que el caso haya terminado.
Ok.
All right.
Ok.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Gracias, señor.
All right.
Se
Madam Deputy, if I could have Jose Morales up next.
Alex.
And then it'll be Mr. Zambrano after him.
Okay.
Morales.
Are you Mr. Jose Morales?
¿Es usted el señor José Morales?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Morales, if you would please raise your right hand.
Señor Morales, por favor, levante la mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
¿Jura o afirma que el testimonio que va a dar será la verdad y nada más que la verdad? Ante Dios lo jura.
Lo juro.
I swear.
Okay. You may put your hand down.
Muy bien, puede bajar la mano, señor.
Now, Mr. Morales, I'm going to go over with you what you've been charged with.
Señor Morales, voy a repasar con usted de qué se le está acusando.
Now, but before we begin, I need you to listen to a few things.
Pero antes de comenzar, necesito que escuche algunas cosas.
You have a right to an attorney.
Usted tiene derecho a un abogado.
You are presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Usted estará presunto inocente hasta que pruebe que sea culpable.
You have the right to have an indictment by grand jury for felony or an accusation by misdemeanor.
Tiene derecho a que se le emite una acusación formal por el gran jurado si es un delito grave o que proceden contra usted por acusación si es un delito menor.
You have a right to compel witnesses to testify for you at any hearing you have.
Tiene derecho de obligar a que comparezcan testigos para que declaren a su favor en cualquier audiencia que tenga.
Or you have a right to testify yourself.
O usted mismo tiene el derecho a declarar.
Now, sir, you are charged with driving under the influence.
Muy bien, señor. A usted se le imputa el delito de manejar bajo los efectos de alcohol,
And that carries a bond amount of $5,000.
que conlleva una fianza de $5,000.
You were charged with stop sign violation.
Se le imputa la infracción de desobedecer un señal de parar.
I'm sorry, give me 1 second, miss.
Permítame. Yes, sir.
Just straighten this up. And I think we were at stop sign about was $500. One count of improper lane change.
Y eso conlleva una fianza de $500.
That carries a
También
bond, and that carries a bond amount of $500.
Cambiarse de carril inapropiadamente, que también conlleva una fianza de $500.
One count of impeding traffic flow.
Un cargo de impedir la circulación del tránsito,
And that carries a bond amount of $500.
que conlleva una fianza de $500.
One count of possession of a Schedule I controlled substance.
Un cargo de tenencia de una sustancia regulada que figura en la
carries it.
tabla 1,
And that carries a bond amount of $3,500.
que conlleva una fianza de $3,500.
And lastly, one count of driving without a license.
Y por último, un cargo de manejar sin licencia,
And that carries a bond amount of $1,500.
que conlleva una fianza de $1,500.
Now, what I want to talk to you about next is if you have 3 different ways to make your bond.
Ahora, de lo que quiero hablar con usted ahora es que usted tiene 3 maneras diferentes de pagar la fianza.
Now, your total bond amount is $11,500.
La fianza total que tiene es $11,500.
You can choose to pay that bond in cash.
Usted puede elegir pagar la fianza en efectivo.
You can choose to use a bonding company where you would only pay 15% of that bond.
Podría usar una compañía de fianzas donde solamente pagaría el 15% de la fianza total.
Or if you own property or someone you know owns property, they can bring their deed down to the sheriff's office where it would stay until your case ends.
O si usted es dueño de una propiedad o conoce a alguien que es dueño de una propiedad, presentaría la escritura de tal propiedad que se quedaría en la oficina del sheriff hasta que el caso se resuelve.
Now, I see here, Mr. Morales, you are not working. Is that correct?
Veo aquí, señor Morales, que no está trabajando, ¿correcto?
Sí, correcto.
Yes, that's correct.
So I am going to go ahead and appoint you a lawyer this morning, free of charge.
Entonces, ya le voy a nombrar un abogado para usted para representarlo por esos cargos.
Ok, solamente una pregunta.
Okay, I just have one question.
Okay, let me get through this and then I'll answer your questions.
Bueno, primero permítame que yo termine de explicarle todo eso y luego atiendo su pregunta.
Okay. Now, before I get to your question, the question I have for you is this. You have a right to what is called a preliminary hearing.
Antes de atender su pregunta, lo que le quiero decir es lo siguiente. Usted tiene derecho a una audiencia preliminar.
Okay. A preliminary hearing is where a judge would consider whether the police officer had enough evidence to arrest you.
Una audiencia preliminar es donde el juez considera si el oficial de policía tenía suficientes pruebas para poderlos arrestar.
You can choose to have that hearing, or I can waive that hearing for you and move your case to the prosecutor quicker.
Usted puede elegir tener la audiencia o yo puedo renunciar a la audiencia por usted para que su caso llegue al fiscal con más prontitud.
What would you like to do, sir?
¿Qué quisiera usted hacer, señor?
No, pagar la fianza.
I'd like to pay the bond.
Okay. Now, but in case you don't pay the bond right away, like you'd like to, would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
Pero si usted no puede, por ejemplo, pagar la fianza de inmediato como quisiera, ¿qué quisiera hacer? ¿Tener la audiencia o no tenerla?
Si tengo la audiencia, ¿cuánto tiempo voy a estar aquí?
If I have the hearing, how long will I be here for?
Now, if you have the hearing, it does take a little longer. Your next court date wouldn't be till January 9th.
Si tiene la audiencia, sí tarda un poco más. Su próxima audiencia no será hasta el 9 de enero.
Un mes aquí, tengo que estar encerrado.
So I would have to be detained here for a month.
Only if you can't bond out.
Solo si no puede pagar la fianza para poder salir.
Correcto. Voy a marcar a mis familiares para ver si la podemos pagar.
Correct. I'm going to call my family members to see if we can pay it.
Okay. In the meantime, then, sir, what I'll do is let me just go ahead and set that hearing in case you can't for you for January 9th.
Mientras tanto, lo que voy a hacer es programar la audiencia en caso de no poder pagar la fianza para el 9 de enero.
Y si la pago, tengo que venir de todas maneras.
And if I pay it, I still have to come to it anyway?
No, sir.
No, señor.
Your next court date will come to you in the mail.
Su próxima audiencia judicial le llegará por correo.
Ok.
Okay.
Y con la compañía, 15% del...
And with the bonding company, that would be the 15%?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Sí, señor. Correcto.
Ok. Pero igual una pregunta. Yo me paré en la luz porque mi carro se les falla mecánica. Se destrapó una llanta y ahí quedó.
So, and another thing, I stopped at the light because I had mechanical
Yes, sir.
failure.
I'm sorry.
I
Go
had
ahead, Mr.
mechanical failure. I had a problem with my tire.
Okay, and sir, I can't talk to you about your case, and just to protect you, please, let's not talk about that.
Señor, yo no puedo hablar con usted sobre los detalles del caso. Para su propia protección, no vamos a entrar en detalles sobre eso.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Buena suerte, señor.
Next up should be Mr. Zambrano. Are you Mr. Hernandez Zambrano?
¿Es usted el señor Hernández Zambrano?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Zambrano, if you would, please raise your right hand.
Señor Zambrano, por favor, levante la mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Jura o afirma que la declaración que va a dar ahora será la verdad y nada más que la verdad de Dios lo jura. I swear.
Okay. Now, Mr. Zambrano, I'm here to talk to you about what you've been charged with.
Señor Zambrano, estoy aquí para hablar con usted sobre los cargos que tiene.
Okay. Your first charge is driving without a license.
El primer cargo es manejar sin licencia.
Okay. And that carries a bond amount of $1,000.
Este cargo conlleva una fianza de $1,000.
Okay. Your next charge is driving without insurance.
Su próximo cargo es manejar sin seguro de auto,
And that also carries a bond amount of $1,000.
que también conlleva una fianza de $1,000.
Your final charge is failure to yield while driving.
Por último, tiene un cargo de no ceder el paso mientras se está manejando.
And a bond amount for that charge is $500.
Y la fianza para esa infracción es $500.
Now, before we continue, sir, there are a couple things I want to say to you, and I need you to just listen to me.
Antes de seguir adelante, hay un par de cosas que necesito decirle y solamente necesito que escuche.
As this is your preliminary hearing, you have several rights.
Y con su audiencia preliminar, esta es su audiencia preliminar y usted tiene varios derechos.
The first is you have a right to an attorney.
Primero, tiene derecho a un abogado.
You have a right to either have an indictment if you're charged with a felony or an accusation if you're charged with a misdemeanor.
Tiene derecho a una acusación formal si se le imputa un delito grave o una acusación si se le imputa un delito menor.
You have a right to a trial by jury.
Tiene derecho a un juicio por jurado.
You have a right to testify at any trial or hearing that you have.
Tiene derecho a declarar en cualquier juicio o audiencia que tiene.
You have a right to call any witnesses on your behalf if you so choose.
Tiene derecho a convocar cualquier testigo en defensa propia si usted elige hacerlo.
And lastly, you have a right to a speedy and public trial.
Por último, usted tiene derecho a un juicio público y sin demora.
Now, Mr. Zambrano, turning back to your bond, there are a couple ways that you can get out on bond.
Ahora, señor Zambrano, volviendo al tema de la fianza, hay un par de maneras que usted puede salir bajo fianza.
You can either pay the $2,500 in cash.
O puede pagar los $2,500 en efectivo.
Or you can use a bonding company wherein you would only be responsible for 15%.
O podría usar una compañía de fianzas donde solamente tendría que pagar el 15%.
Lastly, you could use a piece of property you own or someone else you know who may own a piece, and they can bring their deed down to the sheriff's office where it will stay till your case is closed.
Por último, usted podría usar una propiedad de la cual usted es dueño o una propiedad del cual otra persona es dueño y presentar esa escritura en la oficina del sheriff y ellos se quedarán con la escritura hasta que el caso se concluya.
Now, if you fail to pay your bond and get out, you have a right to what is called a preliminary hearing.
Ahora, si usted no puede pagar la fianza para poder salir, tiene derecho a lo que se llama la audiencia preliminar.
A preliminary hearing is where a judge, just like me, would listen and make sure the police officer had enough evidence to arrest you.
Una audiencia es donde un juez, como yo, escucharía las pruebas para determinar si existían suficientes pruebas para que el oficial lo arreste.
So you can choose to have that hearing if you don't make your bond, or you can waive that hearing and I'll send your case straight to the prosecutor and it'll move a little quicker.
Entonces usted puede elegir tener la audiencia si no sale en libertad bajo fianza, o usted puede renunciar a la audiencia para que su caso pase al fiscal con más prontitud.
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
May I ask a question?
Let me ask you, well, yes, go ahead, please.
Bueno, sí, adelante.
Ya, yo puedo pagar la fianza,
I can pay the bond,
pero hay otra cosita que quiero preguntarle.
but there's something else I'd like to ask.
El carro sí tenía seguro. Lo que
The
quiero-
car did have
sí está
insurance,
con mi nombre porque no es mío.
but it's not in my name because it doesn't belong to me.
Okay, stop, sir. I can't talk to you about your case.
Pare, señor, es que yo no puedo hablar con usted sobre su caso.
Ya, disculpe.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let me ask you, are you currently working?
Le pregunto, señor, ¿está trabajando actualmente?
No,
No.
So I am gonna appoint you a lawyer free of charge, okay?
Entonces sí, le voy a designar un abogado sin costo alguno para usted.
And what I'll also do is I will set that hearing date for you of January 9th so that if you don't get out, you'll have that hearing date for you.
Entonces voy a programar su audiencia también para el 9 de enero, para si en caso de no poder salir, tendrá esta audiencia programada.
si mi hermano pagara la fianza hoy, ¿me dejarían en libertad hoy?
If my brother were to pay the bond today, would they let me out today?
They would let you out, sir, but I can't tell you how quickly it would be.
¿Lo dejarían libre? Sí, señor, pero yo no sé, no le puedo decir en qué tiempo.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir.
Gracias, señor.
Gracias.
All right, and I believe that should leave Mr. Perez.
No, quiero escuchar.
Gonna talk to Judge, okay?
Mr. Perez, do you understand why you're here?
Señor Mares, ¿entiende por qué está aquí, señor? The interpreter cannot hear his response. May I ask him to repeat, Your Honor?
Come a little closer.
Acérquese un poco más, señor, para que le oiga.
Sí, no escucho, a veces no entiendo las palabras.
I'm not,
Yo quisiera, me habían de estar grabando las palabras, como ya no anda bien mi memoria. I'm not hearing your words because my memory is not very good. Yo estoy pensando que la mayoría de gente sí las traen bien su memoria.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Deputy. What was that?
He has a
Ahí
mental
soy él,
illness.
yo creo que soy él.
Un momento,
Sí.
un momento. He has a
So-
mental
I
illness.
think that's me on the screen, right? That's me.
No será yo.
So what we're gonna do then, Deputy, I'm gonna go ahead, excuse Ms. Jartu, and we'll just continue here.
Okay.
Is he gonna be brought back to here tomorrow, or he going straight to his prelim?
Let me talk with Judge Case Johnson and see how she wants to handle. I'll email you all shortly.
Okay,
Yo
sir.
quiero estar mirando eso en la primera.
Take care.
Okay, so,
All right, and then that should be all of the Spanish speaking, is that correct?
yes, sir.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do then now, Ms. Jartu, that's all you got.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Have a great day.
Thank you. So what we're gonna do, since we've got a mix of both of these JOTS folks, as well as the the old way through Palatine, my understanding is that you all can see which ones are through JOTS and which ones are not. Is that correct?
Which one is a what, sir?
Through JOTS, through the new system that we're using for the warrants?
We're not using that today.
We'll have the judge today.
Yeah,
Okay, so you can't see which ones are not and which ones aren't?
yes, sir. We can't see.
Okay, I organized them according to that. Let's see. All right, let's do it this way. I'm gonna just call them out by female. I know I've got the females first. And then we'll handle it that way. So first up,
I'm sorry, sir.
I'm
we
gonna
have-
call them. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
We have certain males that we want to try to get them out the way, so we won't have no issue.
You see 2006 on this guy?
I can give you their names if you give me a second.
Who do you have sitting there that I see in that far left? Are those male or female?
We have Teron Akon, Rashad Billings, Malcolm,
Yes.
hold on. Jalen Malcolm.
Yes.
Okay, let's just take them one at a time. So bring Mr. Akon up. Are you Mr. Akon?
Sir.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear?
Yes.
All right, give me 1 second here. All right, so Mr. Akon, you are charged with 1 count of riot and 1 count of riot in a penal institution, sir. Based on the allegations here, sir, I am going to deny your bond here this morning. You are going to get another court date, sir, where they will be able to later consider whether they like to give you a bond. But as of today, sir, I need you to understand that I'm denying your bond. Do you understand that?
That's cool. You understand?
All right. So as far as, hold on, sir. As far as your next court date, you're going to get a preliminary hearing date. That's going to be January 8th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Mr. Billups, are you currently working? Sir, are you, excuse me, I apologize, Mr. Akon. Mr. Akon, I'm sorry. Mr. Akon, are you working?
Man, I've been incarcerated for 2 years.
Okay. And so because of that, sir, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney. So again, you've got an appointed attorney this morning. Your next court date is going to be your preliminary hearing. That's going to be on the 8th of January of 2024. I'm also going to give you your bond hearing date since you are on a no bond status. And that's going to be January 12th of 2024 as well. And that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. So you've got 2 court dates, the 8th for your prelim, the 12th for your bond, both at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You're on a no bond. And you do have a court-appointed lawyer. Do you understand?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Do you have any other questions of me, sir?
No.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Sir, let me tell you.
All right.
He said he's done, John.
You done?
All right, let's go.
Deputy, I think you said Mr. Billups next.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Billups, you're charged with 1 count of aggravated assault, 1 count of riot, and 1 count of possession of a deadly weapon by an inmate. Based on the allegations, sir, I have denied your bond here this morning. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Sir?
Yes.
All right, sir. Now, are you working right now?
No, sir.
All right. So I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. Do you understand that? Your next court date, sir, is going to be January 8th of 2023 for your preliminary hearing. And then I'm also, because you're on a no bond status, you're going to get a bond hearing date, and that's going to be January 12th of 2023. Excuse me, of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 as well. So again, you are charged with 3 felonies. You're on a no bond status. You have 2 court dates. Your first appearance is on the 8th of next year at 8:30 a.m. And then your bond hearing is going to be on the 12th, both via Zoom. And I've appointed you a lawyer this morning. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. All right, Deputy, who do you have that you'd like to take care of next?
Malcolm, Mr. Malcolm, Jalen Malcolm.
Give me 1 second, please. I think I do have that one. All right. All right, Mr. Malcolm, you're charged with 1 count of riot in a penal institution, 1 count of possession of a deadly weapon by an inmate, and 1 count of riot. Sir, based on the allegations here this morning, I am denying you bond this morning. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, I assume because you're in custody, you are not currently working. Is that correct?
No.
How long have you been in custody?
3 years.
Okay. So I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning, sir. Your next court date is going to be January 8th of this year. And that's, excuse me, of next year, 2024. And that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Then you're also going to have a bond hearing date. That's going to be the 12th of next year. That will also be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. So again, you're charged with 3 felonies. You're on a no bond status. I've appointed you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. And you got 2 court dates, the 8th and the 12th for your preliminary hearing of next year. Both will be at 8:30 a.m. and they will both be via Zoom. Good luck to you, sir.
Next person will be Jeremiah Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, if you would. Are you Mr. Jeremiah Johnson?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Give me 1 second, Mr. Johnson. Johnson, I saw you here this morning. Okay, I've got you. Mr. Johnson, okay. So, Mr. Johnson, I've got here that you were charged with several felonies to include a riot in a penal institution, possession of a deadly weapon, and then also an additional count of riot. Now, I need to let you know that there are certain requirements here in the state of Georgia, namely in that police officers have to identify certain information for me to move forward on your case. They did not do that here. And so as of today, sir, the warrants alleged in this particular case, this one only, and currently are being dismissed. Now, let me be clear. That does not mean that the prosecutor's office won't bring this case back against you. What I'm telling you is simply, as of today, the information that I needed to move forward against you was not present. And so based on that, as of today, Mr. Johnson, that case has been dismissed. Do you understand that?
Sir.
All right, sir, that's all I have for you. Good luck to you.
That's just Michael, right? Michael McGruder.
All right, give me one moment.
What's he doing? What's his name? Okay, I'm gonna know.
All right, Michael, are you Mr. Michael McGruder?
Yeah.
Mr. McGruder, I'm going to give you the same information I just gave Mr. Johnson. In order for me to review your case and make a determination, Mr. McGruder, of whether or not you committed the offense that they alleged you did, you're charged with 1 count of riot and 1 count of riot in a penal institution, sir. When I reviewed your information this morning, however, it was missing several things that the law requires it to have in order for me to pursue whether or not, they've got a case against you. As of this morning, since that information was not included, I am dismissing these charges today. Now, let me be clear, Mr. McGruder, that does not mean that the prosecutor's office cannot bring these charges at a later time. All I'm telling you is, as of today, the evidence was not there and it was not done correctly. Do you understand that?
Sir.
Do you have any questions about anything, sir?
No, I want to read the police report though.
Okay, so as of right now, I mean, these charges have been dismissed. And so you may not have access to that right away. But again, should they decide to bring these charges back, you will have access to an attorney, whether you have to hire your own or one will be appointed for you. And they'll be able to assist you with that, sir. Good luck to you, sir. All right, Deputy, is there anyone else in that group?
What's his name? Mr. Muse, Darion Muse.
Yep, I think I just saw that one. Give me one moment. All right, Mr. Muse, you are charged with 1 count of aggravated assault, 1 count of riot in a penal institution, and 1 count of possession of a deadly weapon by an inmate. Sir, after review of the facts here against you, you've been placed on a no bond status for all 3 charges. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, as to everything else on your case, I'm going to tell you a couple of things here. You're charged with felonies, of course. I think you've been in custody a while here, the information I have. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning that will assist you on your court case. And then lastly, I've got a couple of dates here for you. The first is going to be your preliminary hearing, and that's going to be scheduled for the 8th of January of next year, 2024. And then the next thing is going to be your bond hearing, which is going to be on the 12th of next year. And that is also going to be of 2024. So again, you got a preliminary hearing on the 8th, a bond hearing on the first is going to be your preliminary hearing date because you are charged with felonies. That's going to be January 8th of 2023, of 2024. Then in addition to that, I'm going to give you a bond hearing date because you're on a no bond status. And that no bond hearing bond date will be January 12th of 2024. So again, you are charged with all felonies.
Appreciate it.
I've given you a court-appointed lawyer. Hold on, I want to make sure you got it.
Right here.
I ain't got nothing else. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Muse, you go ahead. You can go ahead, Mr. Muse. Excuse me, Mr. Williams.
It's Tyler Williams. Don't be
All
disrespectful.
right. Tell me what I need to do. Give me 1 second, Mr. Williams. All right, so Mr. Williams, you're charged with 1 count of riot in a penal institution and 1 count of riot. As I've told a few gentlemen this morning, Mr. Williams, the law does require certain things of law enforcement in order for me to move forward on charges. The charges that they brought against you as current missed some vital information. As a result of that, I am dismissing the charges against you, sir. Now, let me be clear. That does not mean that the prosecutor's office is not going to bring them back. They may decide to bring those charges back against you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So as of today, you're dismissed, but please, keep an eye out because you may be brought back with the understanding that those charges are going to be brought back against you, sir. Good luck to you.
Good luck to you too.
Can you talk?
You
can hear?
I got
He said he can read lips.
Okay. And who is this, deputy?
Mr. Justin Kazee.
Oh, yeah, this is the gentleman with the sign language. Yeah, let me hold off on him. He's gonna be like Mr. Morez. Let me talk to Judge Case Johnson because I think we're gonna end up having to continue him till Monday. I don't want to put him in that position. If she says otherwise and wants him back tomorrow, we'll do that. But I want to hold off on him.
Yes, sir. They're gonna probably bring you back, okay? Thank you. All right, whenever you're ready for the females, sir, we'll go ahead with those.
Okay, and I'm showing I only had 2. Is that correct?
We have, how many females in there?
I have
Like 5? It's like 5 of them. We about to bring them all out and get their names.
Okay.
Come on, ladies. What's your name?
The first one that I had was a Lauren Najee Flournoy. That's who I had.
Yes, we have her. Come on, Miss Flournoy. There she goes, sir.
Are you Miss Flournoy?
Yes.
Ms. Flournoy, you're charged with 1 count of crossing the guard line and 1 count of possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. The crossing the guard line is a felony, ma'am, and carries a bond amount of $3,500. Possession of less than 1 ounce is a bond amount of $1,000 for a total bond of $4,500, ma'am. Now, because you are charged with felonies, I am going to give you a new court date here. You'll have what is called a preliminary hearing. And that preliminary hearing, ma'am, will be set for January 8th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yeah, am I gonna get some type of paper? Give me one.
All right. Now, let me ask you, I see here you are not working. Is that correct?
No, I am, sir.
Okay. How much are you making per month, ma'am?
I'd say like 2 bands.
Okay. So based on that, ma'am, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So again, you're charged with the felony, crossing the guard line, possession of less than 1 ounce. Your next court date will be the 8th of next year, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. And I have appointed you a lawyer. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The other one I had was Latia Mayo.
It's between whatever bond company you use, they'll give you a percentage. Go ahead, sir.
I had Latia Mayo as being the other one.
Yeah.
Are you Miss Mayo?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Mayo, you're charged with 1 count of battery family violence. Your bond amount for that 1 count is $3,500. Now, as I said earlier, there are some of you all who are going to have restrictions on your bond, and you are one of those people. You are to stay away from the address of 9862 Braxley Way, and also to stay away from Josephine Mayo. Now, let me say this. I think you were living there at that address. Don't admit to me whether you were or weren't, But if you were, ma'am, you're to stay away from that address. And if you bond out and you need to get some items there until your case is resolved within 10 days of your release, you need to get with the sheriff's office and they'll take you there to get any items that you need. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So let me ask you this, Ms. Mayo. Are you currently working?
No.
So I am going to go ahead, Ms. Mayo, and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning, and that person will be able to assist you on your case. Now, I don't know if you could hear me because we had a large group this morning, but earlier I mentioned a preliminary hearing. Let's assume you're not able to make your bond, and so you're in there. You have a right to have what is called a preliminary hearing. That's where a judge like me is going to listen to the evidence against you and determine if the police had enough evidence to move your case forward. It's not your trial, but it's where they determine, hey, do we have enough or no, we dismiss it. I can give you that hearing if you want it, or I can move your case straight to the prosecutor, which moves it along a little faster. And again, all of this is only if you don't make your bond. What would you like me to do, ma'am? You can have the, I'm sorry?
Well, I don't know. We're not gonna be able to make the bond. I'm not gonna ask somebody to try to make the bond.
Okay, so if you don't make the bond, then you have two choices. You can have that hearing I just described, or you can waive that hearing. What would you like to do?
My preliminary?
Yes, ma'am.
Nah, I need my preliminary.
Okay, so I'm gonna set it for you. So if you don't make your bond, and that date for you, ma'am, is gonna be January 9th, and it's gonna be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. And again, that's only if you don't make that bond, okay?
Okay, I don't want to really incriminate myself.
Then I would suggest you don't. You don't want to say anything, okay? All right, good luck to you, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, Deputy, what other females do you have?
What's your name, man?
Judy Mangum.
Judy Mangum.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me get that one. I think I did. Yeah, because I have, you know what? I did have her. I just had them according to Jots because that's what we were gonna do. But give me 1 second. I'll pull Miss Mangum.
Huh?
And then after Miss Mangum, what's the next female? I see a Miracle Daniel.
Wood, Sasha Wood and Daniel.
Okay, so I've got Wood and Daniel.
Yes.
All right, I've got, so if you want to bring up Mangum, then Daniel, then Wood in that order.
Yes, sir.
Are you Miss Mangum? Are you Miss Mangum?
Yes.
All right. So Miss Mangum, you are charged with 1 count of aggravated assault, ma'am. Your bond amount is $25,000. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are some people, ma'am, who have special conditions on their bond. You are one of those folks. What that means is until your case is closed or it is modified, your bond, you are to stay away from Miss Lucinda Edwards. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You are also to stay away from the address of 869 Gardenwood Boulevard, apartment 2317. Do you understand that?
I live there.
Okay, and I understand that, ma'am, but until such time as this is resolved or there is a modification of your bond, you are not to go there. So let me say this to you. If you make that bond,
yes,
while your case is still pending, you will need to get with the sheriff's office and they will assist you, ma'am, in going to that property to get any items that you need to. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. But
until they modify this or your case is closed, you are not to go back there. Okay?
So, yes, sir.
All right. Now, the other thing I need to tell you, you are charged with felonies, ma'am. And so that means if you don't make your bond, you got an upcoming court date. That court date is going to be January 8th, 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am. Do you have any questions about anything?
No, I just need to know about the bond.
As far as what about it, ma'am?
Yeah, I got somebody here to bond me out right now.
Okay, so then they can either, as I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you heard me, but you can do it by cash, $25,000, by bonding company, which would mean that they would do it 15%, which roughly would be about $4,000 that you would have to put up as non-refundable.
I don't know how they're going to do it.
Well, just tell them your amount of your bond and they'll figure it out.
I'm just letting you know all the options, okay?
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Now, the last thing we need to talk about, are you working, ma'am?
I'm disabled. I just had knee surgery 4 months ago.
Okay, so I am going to, based on that, ma'am, appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning. Do you understand that? All right, good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next up is Miracle Daniel.
Daniel. You need to write down anything.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Daniel. Miss Daniel, you're charged with 1 count of aggravated assault Your bond is $25,000. You're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. Your bond amount there is $1,500. Then you are charged with 1 count of battery family violence. Ma'am, the allegations were not correct, and so I've dismissed that charge. So your total bond amount here is $26,500. You do have special conditions, ma'am, as I mentioned earlier, which means if you make that bond, you need to abide by them until your case is closed or resolved. Closed or modified. You are to stay away from the alleged victim, Antonio Mapp, and to also stay away from the address of 1497 Pine Drive. So if you live there, ma'am, and you make that bond, you're only allowed to go over there with the help of the sheriff's office within 10 days of your being released on bond. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, I am going to give you a new court date, ma'am. You are going to have a preliminary hearing, and that date is going to be scheduled for January 10th. Yours is January 10th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom is your preliminary hearing. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions thus far about anything, ma'am?
Yes, sir. So at the preliminary hearing, can I request to have, with the criminal trespassing and me living there? And I never got a chance to plead or anything like self-defense or anything.
That would be not where you do that. That's not until you have trial, man.
Okay, and then as far as bonding options, I just got a promotion. I'm a visa fraud specialist. I just got a promotion and I go to Arizona. My flight leaves that Monday, 9 a.m. Is there any type of way that I could get some type of probation? I make the money.
This is not the place for that. We don't determine that here.
Discuss your bond and charges. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, if between now and whatever date you schedule to leave, you're able to make your bond, that would be the way that you would be out. Otherwise, you'll have to remain in.
So my bond is how much?
26,500, man. Okay.
And
now, go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead, sir.
No, you were going to ask about the bond amount. Roughly, you're looking at about 4,000 to 4,500 that you would have to do with a bonding company, or the whole 26,500 if you want to do it in cash, or the third way, as I mentioned, was with property.
I don't have any of that, and I don't know a family member there. So I'm gonna be sitting in here until I pay the 4,000.
Yes, ma'am. All right, and so again, now let me tell you a couple things. One, you're charged with felonies we've gone over. Two, your next court date is going to be January 8th at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom for your preliminary hearing. Based on the information you provided, ma'am, your salary is not going to allow me to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer, however. So let me tell you, and you'll have at the preliminary hearing a chance to reconsider. But as of right now, ma'am, I don't have the authority to appoint you a lawyer based on your salary here. But I do need to tell you that in addition to your new court date being the 8th of next year at 8:30 a.m. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir. I could lose my job.
All right.
All your questions?
And that's why I said, ma'am, that you can always reconsider at a later date. But as of today, with the information you provided, I don't have the authority to grant you bond, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Wait, you said I can't bond?
Oh, excuse me. I don't have the authority to give you an attorney. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
Let me correct myself. Thank you for catching that.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Wood.
And I believe that, that should leave Miss Wood. Are you Miss Sasha Wood?
Yes.
Miss Wood, you're charged with 1 count of improper lane change. That carries a bond amount of $500. You're charged with driving with a suspended license, a bond amount of $1,500. 1 count of open container, bond amount of $500. 1 count of DUI, a bond amount of $2,500. And then finally contributing to the delinquency of minor for a bond amount of $5,000. Do you understand that, ma'am? Excuse me, let me correct myself. The DUI, as I understand, this is not a first DUI, it's $7,500. I want to make sure I'm clear about that. So again, DUI $7,500. Contributing to the delinquency of a minor is $500. The open container is $500. Excuse me, contributing to delinquency is $5,000. So $5,000 on the minor, $7,500 on the DUI. Open containers, $500. No license is $1,500. Improper lane change is $5,000. Now, what I'm looking at here, ma'am, you are currently working and you have 1 child. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you support that child on your own, or do you have assistance from anyone else?
It's just me, sir.
How long have you been working at the place you are at now?
Since August.
Okay, so do you know if you'll have that job if you're released?
Yes.
Based on that, ma'am, I do not have the authority as of today to appoint you a lawyer, so you will have to get your own lawyer if you so desire on your case. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, lastly, I don't know if you heard me, but I talked about preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing is where you have the judge, much like myself, and you'll have the police officer that arrests you, and then the judge wants to hear if there's enough evidence for your case to move forward, or if they're going to dismiss it. Now, if you make your bond, you don't get the hearing. If you don't make your bond, you have a right to have that hearing, or I'll waive it if you tell me to, and I'll send your case to the prosecutor, which means it'll move a little faster. Which would you like me to do? Would you like to have that hearing or waive it?
I'm not sure if I understand because my bond was already paid.
Well, I can only tell you what I've got. I mean, there were a couple of charges here that did not have bond on them. And so if someone has paid your bond, then they only paid it for the traffic, not for the DUI nor the delinquency of a minor, because they didn't have bond amounts yet on them. But let me ask you again, my question to you is about this preliminary hearing. Assuming that I'm correct and you're not going to be able to bond out, do you want your preliminary hearing or do you want to waive it?
That I'm not going to be able to bond out.
If you can't bond out.
If you cannot. So let me do this, Ms. Wood. Let me go ahead and just set it because I can see a little confusion because I know you were expecting to be getting out. So I'm going to set it for January 9th, 8:30 a.m. and it's going to be via Zoom, okay? And that's only going to be if you don't make bond. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other questions, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right. Good luck to you, Ms. Wood.
I'm sorry. How much was the total? I'm so sorry.
Let's see, 12, 5, 14, $15,000, man. So if you were to use a bonding company, you'd have to come up with about 2,500, or you can do it in straight cash, or you can use a property bond if someone you or someone you know has property that is 3 times worth that amount. They would simply bring the deed down to the sheriff's office, who would hold it until your case is done.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
All
right. All right, Dave. So we're just to the gentleman now?
Yes, we got first Bruce Ray Honor first.
Yep, I've got him here. All right. So are you Mr. Arnold?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Arnold, you're charged with 1 count of theft by shoplifting, 1 count of disorderly conduct. Each carries a bond amount of $1,500 for a total bond of $3,000, sir. You do have a stay away condition from 599. I believe that's Highway 138, where this incident is alleged to have happened. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, you understand that if you fail to abide by it, obviously, that you could be subject to new charges. Let me ask you this. I don't know if you heard me earlier, but you have a right to a preliminary hearing, which is a hearing where the judge will consider whether there's enough evidence for your case to move forward, or I can bypass that hearing and then let you go straight to the prosecutor, which moves a little quicker. Which would you like to do, sir?
Hearing.
You said have the hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. So I will go ahead and set your set your hearing date for the 9th of January. And that's going to be 2024 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And I understand you're currently not working. Is that correct? Say that again.
He's on Social Security.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. So I am going to go ahead then, sir, and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. So your next court date, sir, should you not make bond, will be January 9th of next year at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. And I've appointed you a lawyer to assist you, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. Next up, I have Caleb Chance. Are you Mr. Chance?
I am.
Mr. Chance, you're charged with 1 count of forged prescription. Your bond amount is $3,000, sir. Because you're charged with misdemeanors, you have the right to a preliminary hearing. You can have that hearing or waive that hearing, as I just explained to the gentleman before you. Would you like to have that hearing or waive it?
But I have a question. What does forged prescription mean?
Sir, that's where you were in possession of a essentially a prescribed drug that you should not have, and then you passed it from you to someone else. But again, you don't want to go into too much detail about that, so let's not get into that right now. But that's what you've been charged with as of today. But as far as your preliminary hearing, would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing, sir? If you don't make bond.
I don't make, I would like to waive it.
Okay. So I am going to show that you are waiving your hearing. You are charged with a misdemeanor. Now I see here you're not working, sir, so I am appointing you a court-appointed lawyer this morning, okay?
All right.
All right, sir, you're going to have a document there they're going to have you sign showing that you're waiving your right to that hearing. That's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you.
I go around that way.
All right, Christian Chapman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chapman, you're charged with one count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act for a bond of $3,500, one count of loitering or prowling for a bond amount of $1,000 for a total bond of $4,500, sir. Now, you are charged with a felony, which means you're going to get a new court date if you don't make bond. The new court date is going to be January 10th of 2023, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, now I see here you are not working. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So I am going to go ahead, sir, and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer that's going to assist you on your case, okay? All right, if you ultimately want to get your own lawyer, you can, but right now I'm appointing you one. Your next court date is the 10th of next year at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Good luck to you, sir.
Mr. Robert Lee Childs, that's one of the person we did not locate today.
Okay, all right, so Mr. Childs, let me set him aside. And Deputy, then we need to make sure he's on for tomorrow.
Okay.
Next up, then I have Dustin Davis. Are you Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Davis, I'm showing here you're charged with one count of prohibited acts on a public transit and one count of trespass. Both are bond amounts of $1,500 for a total bond of $3,000. You do have a special condition, sir, and that's to stay away from the Atlanta airport unless you are there for travel or work. Do you understand?
Yes.
Are you currently working, sir?
Working service, yes.
I'm sorry?
No.
Okay, so I have gone ahead and appointed you a court-appointed lawyer, sir. Now, I mentioned earlier, you do have the right to what's called a preliminary hearing because you're charged with misdemeanor. Preliminary hearing is where the police officer and the judge will listen to, or the judge will listen to the evidence that the police officer has to determine if there's enough evidence for your case to go forward, or they dismiss it. Or I can move your case on up to the prosecutor and it resolves a little quicker. Which would you like to do? Would you like to have that hearing or waive it, sir?
Waive it.
All right. So I am going to show that you are waiving your hearing. So your next court date, should you make your bond, sir, will come to you in the mail. There is going to be a document that they're going to have you sign shortly. So good luck to you. Next up, I have Demisket Deer. Last name is Deer, Terrell Deer. Are you Mr. Deer?
Good morning. Yes, I am, sir.
Good morning, sir. You're charged with one count of dangerous drugs in a container. Your bond amount is $2,500, sir. I have here that you are working. How much are you earning per month, sir?
I say anywhere between, I'm a retailer, sir, so anywhere between, I can make 2,000 this month, 5,000 this month. Like, it just all depends.
Okay. Do you know if you'll still have that job if you get out?
Yes, I will, sir.
I'm showing you have 5 children. Do you live with those children?
With 3 of them, I do.
Okay. Do you and those children alone, or do you have anyone else living with you?
Yes, I have someone living with me.
Is he or she working?
No.
They're gonna let us know.
Okay. So I am going to go ahead, sir, based on that information, provide you a court-appointed attorney. Let me ask you this. I talked about a preliminary hearing. I don't know if you heard me, but if you did, do you want your hearing or do you want to waive your hearing?
I didn't hear you, sir.
So a preliminary hearing is where the judge will listen to the evidence the police officer has to determine if there is enough evidence to go forward on your case, or they dismiss it. Or I can send your case straight to the prosecutor, which moves it a little faster. So would you like to have that hearing or waive it? And this is only if you don't make bond as well.
I was going to say, does that affect my bond?
Nope. It only happens if you don't make your bond.
let's move it on up.
All right, so I'm gonna show that that's a waiver. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, sir. So I have gone ahead and shown that you are desiring to waive your preliminary hearing this morning. So I am marking that. They will have a document for you to sign this morning, okay? All right, good luck to you. Next up, I have Mr. Ahmad Everhart. Are you Mr. Everhart?
Yes.
Mr. Everhart, you're charged with 1 count of open container, 1 count of prohibited parking. Each of those carries a bond of $500. You're charged with 1 count of DUI and 1 count of reckless driving. The reckless driving carries a bond amount of $2,000. Sir, as to the DUIs, based on the evidence that's been provided to me, sir, I have made the decision to dismiss that DUI. Let me just be clear, sir, that does not mean that this charge will not come back. Only as of today, based on the information I have, I did not find it adequate enough to move forward against you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, looking at this here, based on the information that you have provided, sir, I am not going to be able to appoint you a lawyer this morning. So if you would like a lawyer to assist you on your case, you will have to obtain your own. Do you understand? And then lastly, did you hear me when I described what a preliminary hearing is?
Yes.
Would you like to have your hearing if you don't make your bond or waive it?
Oh my God.
All right, sir. So your next court date, should you not make your bond, will be January 9th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you, sir. Next up, I have Jimmy.
I'm sorry, he missed the bond amount.
Your total bond, Mr. Everhart, is $3,000. Yes, sir. Right. Next up, I have Jimmy Flournoy. Are you Mr. Flournoy? Mr. Flournoy, you're charged with 1 count of loitering or prowling for a bond amount of $1,000. 1 charge of giving a false name for a bond amount of $1,500 for a total bond of $2,500, sir. Now, according to the information you provided here, I am not going to be able to provide you a lawyer this morning. So if you choose to have one, you're going to need to obtain your own. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, as far as the preliminary hearing, I don't know if you heard me earlier, but would you like to have your hearing or waive it, sir?
Waive it, huh?
All right. All right, sir. So I'm going to show that you are waiving your hearing this morning. They're going to have a document for you to sign shortly. Please be on the lookout in the mail so that if you do make your bond and you've waived your preliminary hearing, you'll get your next court date in the mail. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Sign here.
Thank you. Next up, I have Robert Gosdin, Gosdin.
Yes, sir. Give me 1 second. All right. Thank you.
All right. Are you Mr. Gosdin?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gosdin, I'm showing you're charged with 1 count of driving with a suspended license. Your bond amount is $1,500. 1 count of driving with a canceled registration. Your bond amount is $500. 1 count of driving with an inoperative tag. Bond amount of $1,000, and then defective equipment, a bond amount of $500. Your total bond, sir, is $3,500. Now, as far as the information that I have here, sir, I show you're not working. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. As far as your preliminary hearing, if you don't make your bond, do you want to have your hearing or waive your hearing?
I want to waive it. Your Honor, is there any kind of way I can get a reduction on that bond?
No, sir. All right, sir. So I'm going to show that you waived your hearing this morning. They're going to have a document for you to sign. Once you sign that, sir, good luck to you.
Sign right here.
All right.
All right, sir. Thank you. Next
And
person.
next up should be Roderick Harris.
We don't
Are you
have him, sir. That's one of the inmates we can locate.
okay? Give me 1 second here. What's your name, sir? Are you Heyman? All right. Yep.
Yes,
AJ.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Heyman, I'm showing you're charged with 1 count of terroristic threats. Your bond amount is $5,000. Sir, you do have special conditions, and that's to stay away from the address of 3570 Highway 138. You're also to stay away from these 2 individuals, that being Ariel Ryan and Lakeisha Bateman. Do you understand that?
Yes, can I ask a question, Your Honor?
If it's about your case, sir, you don't want to do that. But go ahead.
I'm not worried about incriminating myself with it, but I was forced to leave 4 adolescents there. My kids are by themselves unattended, and these people called males to come harm me, and I started making threats.
Okay, you're getting into your case. Oh.
I never, I'm being charged with something I don't have.
Listen,
I'm just trying to gain understand.
Listen, sir.
Listen. But the thing here's what I'm gonna listen to you, sir. But I need you to be careful.
All I'm saying is I was threatened. I never did it.
Okay, I cannot do that.
We trying to tell you.
Okay, I understand. I hear you, and I understand, Mr. Heyman. But what you're getting into, understand again what I said earlier. This is being recorded, and so what you're saying right now, it may hurt or it may help you, but I cannot get into that.
I was just saying I was a victim, and I was only trying to get to asking for recognizance because I have 4 adolescents by themselves.
I cannot, with these allegations, I cannot, sir. Okay. Now, if you don't make that bond of $5,000, your next court day is going to be your preliminary hearing. It's going to be on January 8th at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, because of your circumstances right now, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. So January 8th, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom, and I've appointed you a lawyer, sir. Good luck to you. Next up should be Mr. Jackson, Sedarian Jackson.
That's you?
Are you Mr. Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jackson, you're charged with 1 count of cruelty to children in the third and 1 count of battery family violence. Your total bond is $8,500. On the cruelty to children, you have a $3,500 bond. On the battery, a $5,000 bond. You do have 2 conditions here. That is to stay away from the alleged victim, Sedarian Jackson, the minor, as well as the address of 6042 North Lee Street. I understand that's where you reside, sir. So if you do make bond, please understand that within 10 days of your date of release, you have to contact the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's office will assist you in going to that property with you if there are things you need to obtain. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, in the interim, I don't know if you heard me with the preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing is where you would have the opportunity to have the police officer show up, and they've got to tell the judge what evidence they had against you in order for your case to go forward to the prosecutor, okay? Or I can send your case directly to the prosecutor. It's up to you. One moves a little faster than the other is pretty much the big difference. Which would you like to do? Would you like me to have that hearing for you, set the date, or would you like me to skip that hearing and send your case on up to the prosecutor?
I have a date.
I'm sorry? I said I can set that preliminary hearing date for you, or I can waive that hearing and send it on up to the prosecutor for you.
Whichever one of the fastest.
You got
Okay. Now, the faster is the waiver of the hearing. Is that what you're asking me to do?
Yes.
Okay, so I am going to show that you waived your hearing. You're charged with misdemeanors. Based on the information you provided here, sir, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning. So you will have someone to assist you on your case. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, sir. That's all I have for you. Unless you have any questions for me, that's it. Good luck to you, sir.
right there.
I got my bond.
Yes, sir. It was $8,500. Cruelty to children, $3,500. $5,000 on the battery family violence. All right.
Go in that door right there. Next up.
Let's see. I've got. Let me get through Mr. Jackson's stuff here. I'm showing Clifton Jones.
Yes, sir.
Are you Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jones, I've got you charged with here with 1 count of burglary with a bond amount of $75,000, 1 count of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree with a bond amount of $2,500, 1 count of stalking for a bond amount of $10,000, and 1 count of robbery for a bond amount of $15,000. Your total bond is $1,025. You are to stay away from the alleged victims, Imani Anderson, and the minor victim, Nashir Jones.
Hey, Joe.
You're also to stay away from the address of 1416 Gardenwood Drive. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, because you are charged with felonies, your next court day is going to be your preliminary hearing. That's going to be January 8th of 2024 at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, because of the information you provided, I've gone ahead and appointed you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning as well. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, sir, that's all I have for you this morning. Unless you have any questions for me, it's good luck to you.
You got any questions? Okay, we ready for the next.
All right, let me see here, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, just stand around until they.
Next
What's
up,
your name?
I've got, I believe it should be Lane, Vincent Lane.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Lane, you're charged with 1 count of theft by taking. I'm showing here, Mr. Lane, that you are currently on probation out of Clayton County from a 2019 case. So as a result of that, sir, you're on a no bond status under the statute of 17-10-1. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Now, should you make your bond, should you get a bond at any time, you do have special conditions, and they're going to be to stay away from the alleged victim, Joshua Smith, and the address of 7288 Fernwood Drive. Do you understand that?
Excuse me?
You're going to have to stay away from the address of 7288 Fernwood Drive and from the alleged victim, Joshua Smith.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, then you shouldn't have a problem with it then. Okay. All right, so I've gone ahead. I'm going to give you a couple court dates here. Because you're on a no bond status, you're going to get 2. The first is going to be January 8th of 2024 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. That's going to be your preliminary hearing date. Okay. The second is going to be January 12th of 2024 at 8:30 a.m. That's also going to be via Zoom, and that's going to be your bond hearing date. Okay.
Okay.
Now, because you're not working, I've also gone ahead and appointed you a court-appointed lawyer. So again, you're on a no bond status. I've given you a lawyer this morning. Your next court dates are going to be January 8th and the 12th at 8:30 a.m., and that's all going to be via Zoom. Any questions, sir?
Yeah, what charges do I have?
You're charged with, again, it was 1 count of theft by taking.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
What was it they said I took?
He can't discuss that.
I can't discuss, yeah, you don't want to go into detail with me about that.
All right.
Your lawyer will talk to you about it.
All right.
All right, take care, sir. Next up, I have Randy Larry.
Yes.
Mr. Larry, you're charged with 1 count of loitering or prowling. Your bond amount is $1,000. You're to stay away from the address of 8145 Attleboro Drive. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, I do.
All right, so now with the information that you provided here, Mr. David, did you fill out the documents here? Are you currently working, sir?
I'm retired from the military.
Okay, so what's going to happen, sir? I am going to appoint you a lawyer. But because of your status, sir, you are going to hear from a program that we have that helps out our veterans. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, sir. So that's all I have for you. Good luck to you.
What's your name?
I'm sorry, what was his name, Deputy?
Mr. Loeb, Clarence
Yep,
Loeb.
Clarence Loeb. Yep, I've got him. Mr. Loeb, you're charged with 1 count of driving with a suspended license. Your bond amount is $1,500, sir. Do you understand that?
I do.
Now, based on the information you provided, sir, I am not going to be able to appoint you a lawyer. So if you do desire the assistance of one, you will have to hire your own. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Now, lastly, I don't know if you heard me because it's been a while since I've said so, but you do have the right to, when you're charged with a misdemeanor, a preliminary hearing. That's if you don't make your bond. The judge will be there, the officer who arrested you will be there, and he has to present evidence to show them that he has enough evidence to go forward on your case. It's not your trial, but it happens before it, okay? And that's only happens if you don't make bond. So you have a right to that hearing, or I can waive that, send your case straight to the prosecutor, which is a little quicker. Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing, sir?
I guess waive it. Because
okay. All right, so go ahead. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
If I'm not mistaken, when I was reading book, they told me that my bond was $1,500, and I just had to get a bail bond.
That's correct. That's correct.
So sending it up would actually be faster for me to get out.
It won't be any. It helps charge the case faster.
Okay.
It doesn't have any effect on you getting out any quicker. That's up to you and whomever you need assistance from to get out.
Okay.
Okay. All right, sir. So I'm going to show you've waived your hearing this morning. That you made the decision to or I'm reviewing your information, you're gonna have to get your own lawyer here. So that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you. Next up, I'm showing Sadina Mbenge, Mbengue.
Yes, sir, he's coming.
Are you Mr. Mbenge?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
So you're charged with 1 count of obstruction for a bond of $2,000, 1 count of impeding traffic flow for a bond of $1,000, and then possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. I have dismissed the marijuana charge based on the lack of evidence provided to me this morning. Now, sir, based on the information that you provided to me here this morning, you do have the right to a court-appointed lawyer, so I am going to appoint you a lawyer this morning to assist you on your case. Now, because you're charged with misdemeanors, you also have a right to a preliminary hearing. What that hearing is, that's a hearing where the judge will be there as well as the police officer, right? And the police officer has to tell the judge all the evidence they have against you. Because if they don't have enough, it can be dismissed. Or I can waive that hearing, skip it all together, and just send your case to the prosecutor, which means it'll move a little faster. Okay, so would you like to have that hearing if you don't make your bond, or would you like to waive that hearing, sir?
So I'm gonna go home, but before that.
Well, you're not necessarily, you got to make bond first. So you're going to have to get out first, and then you're going to have later court dates. But right now, all we're talking about is if you're not able to get out right away and pay by paying that money to get out, do you want to have that hearing or do you want to waive that hearing?
I want to pay the money and go.
That's fine.
Okay. But listen to what I'm asking you, sir. If you don't pay it to get out, do you want to have that hearing or you want to waive it? Here's what I'll do, Mr. Sadina, to go ahead and protect you. I'm going to set your hearing for you. Just in case you don't make bond, your next court date will be January 9th at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be in 2024 via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
All right. 9 June.
Yes, at 8:30.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. All right. Next up should be Joseph McKibben.
Go that way. Joseph. No, Joseph McKibben.
Mitchell McKibbins. Are you Mr. McKibbins?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. McKibbins, I'm showing you're charged with 1 count of simple battery, family violence. Is that correct?
That's what they say.
All the way down the hallway.
All right, and so based on that, sir, you're give me 1 second here, Mr. McKibben. Let me correct this. Your bond amount, sir, is going to be $3,500. And you're going to have to stay away, Mr. McKibben, from the alleged victim, and that's Miss Ayana McCall. Do you understand that?
I understand what you're saying.
Now, the allegations alleged, now you don't have to tell me whether this is correct or not, but the allegations alleged to have happened at 10674 Thrasher Road, and it appears that they're alleging the police that that's where you lived at the time. Now, let me explain something to you, sir. I'm putting into place what is called special condition. That means not only are you not to have any contact with this person, but you're not to go to that address. So if you make your bond, within 10 days of your making your bond, you'll need to contact the sheriff's office, and they will assist you by going with you to this address if there are items you need to get until your case is either closed or this bond is modified. Do you understand?
I understand.
Okay. Now, lastly, because you're charged with misdemeanors, you have a right to a preliminary hearing or you have a right to waive it. That's a hearing where if you don't make your bond, the police officer's got to come and he's got to talk with the judge and he's got to tell the judge all the evidence he has against you or your case is dismissed. Now, if you don't want that hearing, I can send your case straight to the prosecutor.
Sir, wait till you finish speaking.
Go ahead. Go ahead. What'd you say, sir?
I want the preliminary hearing.
Okay. So it's going to be January 9th of 2024 at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. And I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer, okay?
Okay.
So your bond is $3,500. You got a court-appointed lawyer, and your preliminary hearing is going to be January 9th, 2024, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom, sir. Good luck to you.
Okay.
All right, next up should be Jonathan Oates.
Mr. I'm sorry, Your Honor, we skipped one person. His name was William E. McGormick.
I did see that.
If you want to do him last, that's fine.
Yeah, give me one sec, because we had so many out of order. I might have just moved it. Let me see.
They got an extra knot to go with that knot that's on their head. That's crazy. You gotta go back.
We gotta bring these back. We gotta find them for tomorrow. So.
Very white country.
I gotta go pay you though.
Okay, I've got him right here. If you want to bring him up.
Yes, sir.
Are you Mr. William? Is it McGurk? Is that how you pronounce it? Sir? All right, so you're charged with 1 count of aggravated assault. Your bond amount is $40,000, sir. You do have special conditions, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim in this matter. And the alleged victim is a Ed, E-D-D, McGurk. I believe it appears to be that that's a relative. Now, if you stay, the allegations are alleged to have happened at a particular address here, and that address is 256 Hummingbird Way. I'm also going to put into place a special condition. So that means you're not to have, what was that, sir?
My brother's been trying to get me locked up ever since.
Okay, okay. Hold on. I can't get into information about that. So we can't talk about your case. I just need you to listen to a couple things, okay? So you're not to go to that address, 256 Hummingbird Way. You're not to have any contact with this Ed McGurk. It sounds like he is your brother until your case is either closed or you modify your bond. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, sir, because you are charged with felonies, you're gonna have a new court date, sir, okay?
Hey, that's my home too.
Your new court date is, I know, but until this case is resolved, you're not to go to that address unless you're with the sheriff's office, okay? You understand?
Mr.
McGurk, I need you to understand, don't go to that address. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, sir, because you're charged with felonies, you're going to get a new court date if you don't make bond. And that's going to be January 8th of next year at 8:30 a.m. And it's going to be on Zoom like we are today. Do you understand that? I understand. Let's not talk about that.
Tell your lawyer there, okay?
Tell your lawyer. But as far as today, you got a court date of January 8th at 8:30 a.m. next year, okay? And I'm going to get a lawyer. I'm going to appoint you a lawyer to talk to you about your case, okay? All right, sir. Good luck to you.
You've been trying to put me in prison.
I understand. All right. Next up should be Mr. Oates.
How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. Mr. Oates, you were charged with 1 count of unlawful possession of a firearm. Your bond amount is $8,000. 1 count of giving a false name. Your bond amount is $1,500. Your total bond is going to be $9,500, sir. Do you understand that?
Yeah, $9,500.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Now, hold on. Based on the information you provided me, sir, I am not going to be able to appoint you a lawyer. So you will have to hire your own should you desire one to assist you. Do you understand?
I do have a question about that. I have limited access to my resources as of right now. It sounds like you're giving court dates out until January 9th. If I'm unable to bond out, I'm also unable to access my resources to gain my own.
So as of right now, just with the information you've told me, I can, but I mean, they'll be able to reconsider this because you will have, as you noted, you'll have an upcoming court date. Your upcoming court date is going to be the 8th of January at 2024 at 8:30 a.m. So at that
by then, if I don't bond out, I'm gonna lose everything. So I do need a
sir, but as of right now, you know, based on the allegations, I believe that that's an appropriate bond of $8,000 on one charge and $1,500 on the other.
Understood. Is there anything we can do? I was truthful about my finances. It's just as of right now, if I'm not able to bond out, I forfeit whatever resources I have and I can't get to them. You know, I'm not from here.
I understand that, sir, but as of right now, no, sir.
Okay, understood. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, you have a good one.
You too. All right, next up should be Mr. Tyrell Pack. Are you Mr. Pack?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pack, you're charged with 1 count of aggravated assault for a bond amount of $35,000, 1 count of criminal damage in the second for $3,000, 1 count of cruelty for $3,000 for a total bond of $41,000. You do have special conditions, sir, and that's to stay away from the alleged victims, Miss, I believe it's Thea Pack, Tristan Pack, and Amira Pack. Or Amarion Pack. Do you understand that? You're also to stay away from the address of 5530 Old Dixie Road, apartment Q3. So if that's where you live, sir, or were living at the time this happened, if you make bond, please understand you are not to go back to that address unless you are with the sheriff's office. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir, I understand that.
Okay. Now, because you're charged with felonies, going to give you a new court date. That's going to be the 8th of next year, 2024. It's going to be at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand.
All right, sir. And I have gone ahead based on the information you provided and appointed you a court-appointed lawyer, so that lawyer will be able to assist you on your case. Good luck to you, Mr. Pack. Next up, I have Delonda Smith.
He's coming, sir.
Are you Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith, you're charged with 1 count of trespass. Your bond amount is $2,500. You do have special conditions, sir, and that's to stay away from the Atlanta airport unless you are there for work or business. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, based on the information you provided, sir, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer to assist you on your case. Now, as far as your preliminary hearing, I'm not sure if you heard me earlier, but that hearing is where if you don't make your bond, the police have got to show up and they've got to determine, after talking to the judge, if there's enough evidence to go forward on your case. So I can set that hearing for you, or I can waive it and send it to the prosecutor directly, and it'll move a little quicker for you. Which would you like me to do? Would you like me to set that hearing date or waive that hearing?
The little quicker part.
Okay. So based on what you're saying, sir, I'm showing that you would like me to waive your hearing. And so I am going to go ahead and show that it's being waived. However, that does mean that they're going to have some documents for you to sign there in about a couple moments. Okay.
Okay.
All right, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Last but not least, Mr.
All right. I'm showing you that Mr. Walker.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, he forgot, what's the bond again?
I believe it was 2,000. Give me 1 second.
3,500.
And this is for Mr. Smith. It was 2,500.
All right.
Thank you,
go,
appreciate
sir.
it.
There you go. You need to write it down. Here go, piece of paper, sir.
Are you Mr. Walker?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Walker, you're charged with 1 count of possession of less than an ounce of marijuana for a bond amount of $1,000. You're charged with 2 counts of violation of a Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Each count carries a bond amount of $3,500. So your total bond amount, sir, is $8,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
So based on, you're fine. Based on what you provided, sir, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. Because you're charged with felonies, your next court date is going to be the 8th of next year, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, yes, sir.
You're fine. Now, based on everything that you got here, are there any questions that you have for me?
Is my bond 10%, 12%, 15%?
Yeah, it's going to be between 10 and 15%. So on $8,000, sir, you're gonna need to come up with about $1,200.
Well, I'm about to say, what's my next court date? January.
The 8th of January, 2024 at 8:30 a.m.
All right, thank you.
All right. All right, so Deputy, I'm showing here, just so we're on the same page, I've got Roderick Harris was a gentleman we could not locate. I've got Justin Gexie is a gentleman with the is hearing impaired.
Yes.
Robert Lee Childs, we could not locate, and Bernardino Merez was the individual who may have some health concerns.
Correct.
All right. So at least, let's plan for at least Mr. Childs and Mr. Harris to be there. And then
Yes.
Mr. Merez and Mr. Gexie. I mean, I'm going to email on all 4, but definitely those 2, every effort we can to get them there tomorrow.
Yes, sir. We already alerted jail, let them know, see if they can make sure they're located by tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay,
right.
and the hearing impaired and the mental problem.
I'm gonna talk with Judge Case
Judge
Johnson
Burke.
to see
Okay.
how she wants to, but I will advise you all within an hour.